deeply as the aroma of naan pizza filled my nose. My mother's preparation of my favorite Indian dish took me back to my childhood days. For the years leading up to preschool, I would wake up drooling, sometimes already onto my pillow, to the smell of my grandmother's Indian cooking. She would tell my fascinated eyes Indian tales, sing my receptive ears gentle Indian lullabies, and would patiently teach my restless mind our Indian language. Throughout my adolescence, I was immersed in a sea of my traditionalist Indian family and flooded by their beliefs. I grew up thinking that the traditions I followed were typical for all Americans. Clearly, at that time, I did not know better. It wasn't until I started school that I became slightly exposed to American culture. American school began with an hour-long show and tell session. All 20 kids in our co-ed classroom expressing different ideas, different mannerisms, different clothing, all unique. We were taught to be proud, competitive, and to never refrain from voicing our opinions. All these qualities had emerged in a simple game of gym dodgeball. With cheering, laughing, and shouting, my teammates and I ruthlessly threw red balls at each other like human targets. "I hit him first!" I screamed at Mr. Bishop, defending myself to stay in the game. Annoyed by my complaints, he reconsidered, and happily I continued to play. The game had concluded, and excitedly, my teammates and I had grabbed our chocolate as we victoriously ate it in front of our opponents. They looked at us with defeat, disappointment, and envy. Yet, we showed no remorse. However, when I began American school, my parents had also enrolled me in an Indian school that met every Saturday. Indian school began with an hour-long prayer session, all 200 kids in our gender-split sanctuary reciting the same hymns, same positions, same uniforms, carbon copies. Saturday, Saturday, Bugs Bunny Cartoon Saturday. No. Every Saturday at 8 a.m., instead of sleeping in or watching the weekend cartoons, I went to Indian school. "Mom, no, please, I want to watch Bugs Bunny." No amount of kicking, screaming, or pleading could dissuade my mother, who was solidly determined to have me learn the values of our heritage. I walked up on stage, nervous, with a slight tremble. It was our annual Youth Day competition, and I had my eyes set on the first place trophy. After a week of practicing, I confidently delivered my speech. Well, half of it. Suddenly, I entered a block. As I scanned the room, hoping something would ignite my memory. Ding! The bell rang, and it was time for me to leave the stage. Disappointed, I left the stage, accepting my defeat. However, each student was given a participation trophy. The idea of Youth Day is not to compete, but rather to learn. Fast forward to high school. My calculus test dropped in front of me, just like my jaw, upon seeing the grade. To my dismay, however, a 5-point question was marked incorrect on my paper. My heart sank as I began to mentally calculate my new average in that class. Glaring at the problem for 15 minutes, I was unable to find my mistake. As much as I wanted to believe I was correct, I held high respect for my teacher. If I questioned him, will he find it offensive? Though my friends agreed that I should talk to him, there was still part of me that refused. In Indian school, I was always taught to respect my elders. I was taught to maintain a humble attitude, that is, to not unnecessarily flaunt my knowledge. On the other hand, my American schooling system taught me that everyone has a say. I sat in my seat conflicted. Rather than being passive, as is taught by Indian philosophy, or overly assertive, as is practiced by American philosophy, I decided to take the middle ground. I approached the teacher in a confident yet respectable manner. I nervously looked over his shoulder at my paper, wiping away my sweat on my palms onto my jeans. To my surprise, with a wide grin, my teacher thanked me for catching my mistake. Had I just combined my two different cultures into one? Although the Indian and American philosophies by themselves may be too self destructive or too self denying, I found the equilibrium between both cultures. As I took a bite out of my favorite spicy naan pizza, it suddenly had a new meaning.